scared.
Good evening, everyone. April 15th, 2019, a Park and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting. We do have a quorum, and I call this meeting to order. I need an approval for the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I say aye. So we will start with old business. AC is out of town. His father is extremely sick, it's my understanding. So filling in for AC will be Miss Felicia Mays, and you can start out, Felicia, and tell us about your old business here.
All right, well, as some of you may know, we had our Easter egg hunt this weekend. It was an amazing turnout. I wanted to thank the volunteers from Box 100, which is Laura Davidson, Carol Haas, Janelle, Jeff, Mr. Bob Simon, Tony Vanetta, Stacy, Tina, Melissa, Linda, and also our volunteers from our Parks and Recreation Board. Of course, Alderman Steve No, Eric Boyd, Mayor Jason Cole was there, Alderman Calvin Jones, and Carly Edgens, which was Derek Edgens, our lead technician over there. His daughter was also there helping out. She was a great help. So.
And what did she do exactly?
She was helping with our decorations at first. Then she was the Easter Bunny's
Escort.
handler, if you will. She made sure he got where he needed to go. The explorers from the fire program were an absolute amazing help. They were so great. So I wanted to make sure to thank Chief Clark and Curtis Brinkley for letting them, join us and assisting out. We did get some sponsors, Save-A-Lot, Kroger's, Lewis Brothers Bakery, and Walmart also helped in that event. So it was a joint event. We did expect more around the lines of 1,500 people or children at this event. However, due to the rain, there was a lot less. Even with that said, Eric, Steve, Bob, y'all were there. It was amazing. It was a great turnout to have as many people there as we did. Even in the weather conditions was incredible. So everyone had smiles on their faces. Everything went smoothly. They enjoyed all the events. So I heard nothing but good so far, and I've tried to ask around to see if there was anything I could improve on next year for it. But it seems now that thus far it's been really well. Good feedback.
I don't know of anything you could do.
Thank you, Steve.
I mean, just as it got started, it just quit raining. The weather temperature was great. Everybody had fun. There was no accidents. I've not heard anything bad. And me announcing those 4 and 5-year-olds, that was, it looked like roaches.
Was it fun? It was so much fun. I believe Alderman Calvin Jones and I were up there watching some of the ones, the 6 through 8-year-olds and the 9 and 12-year-olds. We were watching them as they were announced, and we were talking about our favorite part of it, and it was just that. It was just watching their excitement build up right before they were about to run on the field, so that was really awesome. So I'd like to just thank everyone involved. Thank you so much for our board. Those were able to come, and really glad to have Miss Kathy back. I know your surgery went well, so I'm very excited about that. And
Sorry I didn't make it.
it's okay. It is okay. I completely understand.
Good things about it, too.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much. That means a lot. So
We got plenty of
Miss
other
Mary
events
Jane,
coming up through the summer that the board, we're
absolutely.
going to get the board members out there.
Yes. So thank you, and thanks for everyone that made it successful. And I'm so glad that everyone had a really good time. So
Who is
check
your
out the
Easter bunny?
pictures.
Who is your Easter bunny?
Well, that's Peter Cottontail.
I couldn't even get him to talk to me.
It's Peter
Wouldn't even-
Cottontail.
Wouldn't even talk to me.
But yeah, so check out the pictures that we have loaded on Facebook if you haven't already. Share them, let them know that we had a good time, and maybe that'll entice other people
Lot
to
of
come to the. Thank you.
They're very
Good.
cute.
Good. Another item of old business was the
Now, wait a minute, the one thing you didn't talk about at the Easter egg hunt that I was kind of disappointed about was, I guess like 900 on those M&Ms. I can't believe there was that many M&Ms in that jar.
You were disappointed we didn't talk about it? Yes, so my M&M counting contest was up, and there was a ton of guesses on that sheet. I mean, we expected, some people to stop. We had a line at the M&M contest.
I announced it.
And it was fun. Yeah, he was floored. There was 1,984 M&Ms in there.
I said 1,900.
You did? And yes, there were.
Who got it? Who guessed it?
It was,
One of our new police officers, I think.
yeah, it was one of the lady police, I want to
Yeah.
say Carly or something like that was her name, but could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I had no idea there was that many M&Ms in
Yes.
that.
We also want to thank, before I forget, thank the police department. They also donated eggs for each, or a gold egg for each division. So we were able to not only give out our Parks and Recreation sponsored prize for our gold egg, but also the police had a prize in there too. So that was really awesome.
I just wanted to talk about it a little more. I'm sorry. You can
Oh,
go
no,
ahead.
that's
It was
absolutely
just such
okay.
it was it was awesome.
Thank you so
The-
much.
The hot dogs and the face drawing, the kettle popcorn, it was good. I seen Eric out there
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the free cotton candy. At the end, the lady ran out of the sticks.
She
She
sure
was
enough-
just getting it with her hand and handing it to the kids.
Yeah, she came up to us probably about a minimum of at least an hour left to go, and she was trying to figure out what to do. So Curtis and I were standing there, and he said, "Well," he said, "She's like, I'm out of sticks." I said, "I told you if it was unlimited to make sure you brought enough." And but what she did was we were talking about how she could potentially continue to serve it because all the kids were still excited about it, and so she had the remainder stick left and just slid it off, and that's what. And they were loving it. But it was the face painting had a line. We had to cut off the line at the face painting. I believe I got the number this morning. Almost 100 kids got their face painted. We had to cut off the line at the photo booth eventually because Peter Rabbit needed to start walking around and interacting. So we had a line at the photo booth. We had to cut off the line at the cotton candy machine.
And who was the lady with the big ears at the face drawing?
That's Miss Donna.
Yeah.
So Miss Donna brought Ashley from the library. She is an amazing face painter, and they have helped out in more than one event doing face painting, so that was a lot of fun.
I know you were busy, but I was over there when there was a line, and she had all the parents and kids in line singing songs.
Mm-hmm. You have to love everyone that gets together at an event like that, and Miss Donna is especially wonderful when it comes to things like that. And we had the kettle corn that went. She had a steady handout all throughout the day. They had over I think 500 bags, and they gave all those away.
I seen Eric over there digging in them.
Oh yeah, it was real good. It was.
I would have been there, but we had our.
I know it. I seen that, and yeah, absolutely. How did that go?
Right.
Good. So thank you so much for all the compliments and support. It was truly a fun event to plan, and I had passion in it with, every little detail with the decorations and the people there and just the staging. And so I put a lot into it, so I love to hear the
You
good
did
things
good.
come out.
I had a question. I know that you were setting up the different age groups in different fields. How did that work out this year?
Beautiful. Literally beautiful. I had no complaints from our volunteers on the field, no parent complaints,
Good.
no arguing, nothing.
That's
The way we had it set up was amazing.
I was gonna say, as a
Parents were going.
As a parent, how did you feel about it?
as a parent that had a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, it was perfect. Like the 3-year-olds, like from that 0 to 3 group,
Yep.
it was plenty of volunteers.
Good.
No hostility whatsoever.
Wonderful.
And then there was enough time to transition from the 3-year-old to that the older groups.
Good.
So perfect.
Thank you.
I think
That's what I was hoping.
I think Felicia even brought that up because I was getting a little anxious because I was excited about my group, and she kind of calmed me down and said, "No, let's do it like this because parents that's got multiple children, we want to make sure they can get." And I said, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So I kind of built them up and then got them ready, and then everybody, so, yeah, it was, don't change nothing.
Okay. Well, that is what I'd love to hear.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the ball league.
Yes, so the last time my business on the ball league was extended signups to March 25th. So that is, of course, over with. We wanted to introduce the board members at the ball league opening day ceremonies. That had tentatively been on the 20th. However, due to the parents and coaches' participation on that day, we are going to move it until the 23rd at 6 p.m. That will allow people, that is a holiday weekend, so allow people that were traveling to actually be there. He has reached out to the parent, or to the coaches, and the coaches to the parents as well, to be informed of the change on that. So,
it's gonna be the 23rd of this month?
yes, ma'am, the 23rd at 6 p.m. is the opening ceremonies.
Are they gonna play ball afterward?
Yes, sir. Yep, we're gonna have games.
Where are they doing this at?
On fields.
Veterans Park? Just anywhere
You
there?
need to be up there.
Where at? It's a
the
big
Veterans
park.
Park.
I understand. I know where that is. It's a
There's-
big park.
There's 4 fields up there.
Okay.
And then one in the back.
Okay, so
With
one of the
4 in the
fields.
back.
We'll have the Pee Wee Fields, the backfield complex is the one with, I feel like the best PA system back there. I like the, everything, on the backfield is the ones that they're going to be doing that
Well,
at.
hopefully we'll get that PA system that we had up there at the egg hunt hooked up, and along with you and Jerry, and maybe we can get Jerry to come up there and hook that up, being AC's not here, if you're not savvy enough. I'm not saying you're not, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
if you're not, and hook it up, because,
now it does already have a system in place there.
yeah, but it's a bullhorn system up there.
Okay,
That-
so if you liked the system that we had at the Easter egg hunt, we can definitely,
I think that is a good,
it is,
clear,
I loved it.
clean,
That's,
and if we can get the wireless mic to it,
okay.
you know, that would be great. I see on here Bob would like to introduce. Mr. Bob, I'm going to overrule you on that,
How's that?
because I'm going to do it.
Well, I want you to do it.
Okay,
But I wanted you to announce everybody.
absolutely.
Forward.
Everybody's going to, hopefully everybody will be there. It's at 6 o'clock. I want to show the city of Laverne, the people that's on this board, that we're coming out and participating.
And announce, when you're announcing us, after you get through, then tell them that while we're up there at the park,
You can bet on it.
if they have any questions, to bring them to us, and then we'll bring it back to the board.
I will be very explicit about us. I'll be explicit about, I don't know if AC will be back. If he is, I'll talk about him, Felicia,
Happy
Kathy,
to be your side.
board members, the mayor, and then I contacted Mayor Cole and told him 2 weeks ago to start practicing to see if he can get the ball from the pitcher's mound to the catcher.
Have you been out there helping them?
I played cornhole with him. I'm not getting around him with a ball in his hand. No. But I'm excited about that and get it going and see what happens, and then hopefully the kids of Laverne. And now I want to ask some questions that's not on here.
Absolutely.
You said you were going to talk to him about the opening days and things like that, and then Eric can weigh in if he would like. Schedules, uniforms, things like that. Have we heard anything, know anything?
Yes, so the uniforms are coming in this week. The schedules should, you have your practice schedules, is that correct? Just specifically asking you on this one. Do you have your practice schedule?
We're in the transition period.
Okay, so your team is a unique situation
Right.
in the fact that he did not have a permanent coach for that team. I believe that's where the miscommunication came in, because this was the last week that your coach was able to actually be there.
Correct.
So unless he's already found a new coach to replace it, then it's open. So do you have any parents on your team willing to step up to do that?
So Michael has started communication with the parents.
Perfect.
So that is taking place right now.
Wonderful.
I did see one parent volunteer,
Good.
but I don't know if we're going to move in that direction. Haven't heard any more feedback.
Okay.
I did offer to assist,
Okay.
but I know, like, for instance, I will be traveling with my job starting next week, so I'm actually going to miss opening day. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to be a head coach, because I know my usual vocation takes me here and there from time to time. So, but the conversation has started.
Perfect. So he
So
has
we're
been
hoping we will have a permanent coach.
wonderful.
That's
So
plus, yeah, that's a,
good. I wanted to make sure that, yeah, when I made him aware of everything, and he was under the impression, I believe, that it was being more information was being more communicated than it actually was. So I hope that, moving forward, that's taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's been responsive and attempting to, any issues that are brought to his attention addressed. So
Right.
I hope that you guys get that information soon.
Oh, thank you. And
course.
I'm just doing my due diligence as, because I let it be known with the parents on our team, like, oh, I can sit on the board and I can pass that information along, and that's what I did. So I might not be there to be present, but I'm letting it be known, like, hey, you do have parents, we are concerned, we are hearing them, hearing your concerns and sharing it to the powers to be.
Good. And it might actually be easier knowing that you're on the board and you're with them. So if it's something that they might not easily bring up to, be able to have a communication with someone else, they could at least talk to you about it. So that's awesome too.
all right.
How many children have signed up yet, do you know?
I know he has 7 teams. So that's what his last standing was when I spoke with him. When did we see each other? Last Wednesday? Isn't that when we,
You
last
talking to me?
Yeah, when,
Oh, God, I don't know. I've
So we have 17 games.
slept since then.
7 teams.
What do they normally have?
Last year we had 2 teams.
2?
Yes.
What about like 4 or 5 years ago?
I don't know.
We had 1,000 or better kids up there.
Yeah, this,
Slowly coming back.
Yes, ma'am. It
Slowly.
is. He's building it back up.
this year, again, and we've talked about this before, is that month waiting on
Yes.
Boma, that killed them. Now, you can read a lot into that, but they knew they were getting the league, but I guess they were kind of holding back to make sure, but we'll see how it goes. It's a one-year contract.
Announce it until it.
I'm excited about fall. I think that
Couldn't say
fall
nothing.
ball, even though numbers are normally lower in fall, I think that what they're going to do and their words that they're trying to get out, and they're already word of mouth, telling people about what they want to do for signups, things like that, and we're going to continue to grow.
Well, hopefully we won't have any more BOMA meetings that are
There is not.
canceled.
There is not any more BOMA meetings between now and fall ball. That would affect that, so we're good to go on that one.
Well, there's meetings, but nothing that.
Right, nothing that would affect it.
Affect.
Yes.
I know I've been up there just about every night. I don't see anybody practice. Only night I see anybody practice is when you had your game after the last meeting. You were up there and she was up there.
Monday through Thursday, they're up there. And they have fields on, that we have fields
Yeah, we practice on
6, 7, and 8.
2 fields.
When were you practicing?
And 1 and 2, yeah, we've been on 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, we've had a Saturday practice. We've had a Tuesday and Thursday. That's the one thing I can say. Even though we've had a temporary coach, we've been pretty consistent. And we just got through having a scrimmage also, so they got to play. So they've been engaged.
Ours have been Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Every Monday and Wednesday since signups.
It's good. It realistically, it's just going to be a tough season, this first one. I think fall ball will be better. I think the tournaments over the summer will show people, showcase our park and what we have to offer to everybody. So, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes and try to build it back. I don't know that we'll ever be back to 1,000 kids. That was the work effort of about 30 people, volunteers and stuff.
You were involved in it.
Well, yeah, but, people don't, I'm not trying to compare anybody, but people don't get out and volunteer like they used to. They'll talk about it, and they'll talk about what they can do, and they'll talk about what needs to be done. But then when it comes time to get your fingers dirty,
Yeah.
so,
You have the same group that always volunteers.
yeah, so.
I do have to say, I loved seeing you out on the field spreading those Easter eggs. That was awesome. He was out there.
I wasn't spreading them, I was throwing them at
You
some
were.
of the city workers and some
He
of the
actually was.
explorers.
He was out there tossing the Easter eggs at people. But he did take a bag. He brought a bag out on the field, didn't he? Yeah.
No, I took a box.
Yeah, that's true.
I
That's
took a
true.
big box, 4 or 5 bags. So, I seen something on and it's not, there's a couple things that's not on here, and it's my fault because AC did tell me the other day if there's anything I want to talk about to let Kathy know. So Kathy, it's not your fault. I didn't let you know. Wanted to start talking a little bit about Old Timers Festival. Again, we need to keep that kind of in the mix about ideas and stuff. And one of the people that AC and I talked about trying to get, he died the other day, Earl Thomas Conley. He lived in Smyrna, you know, trying to, I've got a friend of mine that works for the Little River Band who is trying to come up with something. Who do I need to talk to? I know what our budget is. I've seen it. But who do I need to talk to see what kind of budget we would actually have for a grand finale type person? Or does that number even exist?
Yes and no. We have, in years past, based on just what I've been able to review through POs, invoices, things like that, we have a general number. So AC would be the person to talk to about that we kind of fluctuate in and very closely to try to get a grand act and then, 2 smaller ones to go along with it. So that would definitely be something that you would want to talk to him about, and that way y'all could.
And I seen on our website that, of course, it won't be long. Our next big event will be July 4th.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully by then, everybody be healed up, not sick, and we can get everybody out there for July 4th and get that. There was something else too, and I didn't write it down. So like I said, Kathy, it's not your fault. I just,
I think, Steve, one year we spent $15,000 on a big name act. Closest to that, when I did Old Timers, I think we spent between $5,000 and $6,000.
was
on
that
another act.
TJ, was that
No,
TJ
that was
Graham?
Before
That
my
was that
time.
group, that family group.
The family group,
got in
yes.
trouble.
Debbie's
Willis
correct.
clan.
The Willis clan.
Wells Clan, yeah.
Yeah.
We had,
And then when we had the Wanna Beatles, I think we paid $6,000, but that, they also did a children's show.
That
as part
seems,
of that.
I want to say last year it was 10,000 was the main act. So it kind of fluctuates right in between
so
those.
realistically, that's, between those two figures you just mentioned, you feel like that's
Between 10 and 15.
or is that?
Probably would have to get.
15
board
is on the
approval.
high side, I would say. Between 6 and 10 or 6 and 12 maybe is where I feel like it would probably fluctuate for a main act.
You did just have to get board
much
approval if
did,
you were to go higher.
How much did,
Or sponsorships.
I guess we can talk about this on TV. How much did Missy Garnett charge? You remember?
She was not a main act.
No, she wasn't. But what I was thinking was there's several local bands like Missy Garnett.
I want to say she's not. I mean, maybe we paid her $400-500.
Okay, just assuming that's what it is. That's
I
fine.
want to
But,
say that sounds
but
about
there's a
right.
bunch of local bands like her.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix Rising, some other bands that maybe we could at least talk about getting through
Absolutely.
the day.
Breaking it down to do some of the smaller bands that we have more multiple acts through the day, a little bit different here and there, I think is a great idea. I think having the diversity through the bands, especially supporting our local people, is something that we were kind of hoping for.
Yeah, I think we should have bands that represent the different type of people that we have living here.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we have
Cultures
so
and
many different
diversity.
groups. It'll play into the culture theme that you're wanting to go for, maybe?
And you could probably get some of them that would do it just for the fun of it,
Yeah.
really.
And when we had the big acts, Kathy, you might remember, when they did the big acts, didn't they have to have some kind of special insurance to cover us in case it was a rain out and they couldn't come?
No.
It seems like, it seems like I heard AC talking about, they had to take out some kind of a cancellation type insurance policy.
I think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, because $15,000 that they were gonna pay out to a group, and they're like, well, what happens if it rains them out?
That
Well,
happened
they
last
still
year.
they still get paid,
At the War Trace Music
whether
Fest.
they play or not. They still get paid, because it's impossible to set a makeup date.
Is it more or less called insurance or contract?
No, it's
It's a
insurance.
contract, there
Well,
is
no,
a
it's- yeah,
contract,
it's-
and there is insurance.
There would be the rain insurance. We had that happen in War Trace last year at their music fest. Our headliner did 2 songs, and then the sky opened up, and they never saw the money. So I think that's a great idea.
It's an excellent idea. It covers our losses.
To get the
instead of
event
having to
insurance.
pay for something that, several $1,000s for something that we don't get
And you can
because of
probably
weather.
check with the Tennessee Risk Management Pool or whoever the insurance is.
That's right.
for.
It's Tim.
Yeah.
They had it,
Add that,
You know.
add that policy.
they've done it since I've been on this board. They've had the insurance since I've been on this board, so.
Yeah, I believe it was something that was talked about with the Willis clan when they had them. So
And I think
Great
they went
idea.
with it. I don't remember the company they went with or the terms, but it was a very smart move.
I would like to add for OTF that we have met with designers to essentially brand the instead of changing it year to year. We're hoping to kind of sink in one logo so you look at it and go, oh, that's Old Timers, but be able to maybe adjust the coloring or something like that. Almost like if you look up and see CMA. You might not be able to read it, but from a distance, you know that's CMA Fest. So the same kind of idea. So we have met with them. Ann and I met with them last week, and then I believe there's another meeting scheduled this week for it. But we are working on things like that ahead of time, just to make you guys aware of that.
So you and Ann got a bunch of ideas and you're working on it?
Yes.
With everything else that's going on, so.
Yes.
Oh, I know what else my other question was seeing as how I want to have it as a fundraiser for the senior citizens, maybe that's for a senior citizen board meeting, but what about my cotton picking powder puff flag football game for the women?
Did you check with RIS so they would make sure we would be okay? We just need waivers, right?
We need waivers. I asked Bruce and Evan about it,
Okay.
and it was a no. Yes. So, you know.
Okay, well, if we get a waiver drafted, that's all we have to do. We start a sign-up list, and I think it would probably be more of an in-depth discussion for the Senior Citizen Advisory.
Okay.
Is there
That's-
anybody here that would want to play flag football?
I don't think, I think I might, I don't think it'd be a good idea for me to be on it.
I'll pass.
It's, well, I'm not even gonna go into
Darn sure
detail.
wouldn't sign a waiver.
But maybe you all don't, okay, and I understand that, but like what I did was I announced it at the senior center to the seniors and told them, you know, if you have any daughters or granddaughters maybe that are, say, 21 and up that would be interested, well, Miss Zini was on the phone back there. She come up there, when is it, Mr. Steve, when is it? My daughter's right here. And I said, hey, that's great. So I guess the thing that keeps sticking in my head is just like this Easter egg hunt. We need more things in this city that will bring the community together, because you're going to have people over here that's going to complain about anything and everything. We can't do anything for them. They're in their own little dark world and cold-hearted. let them stay over there. We need to be over here where we can put things together for the city, help to bring, you know, whether it's the music or the movies or the Easter eggs or whatever, and, you know, and hopefully we can pull some of these people out to where they're not just completely consumed with negativity.
I've suggested several times, and I think maybe somebody else has too on this board, about a Walking Dead event.
Yes, ma'am.
And a movies in the park
Yep.
with some Walking Dead type movies. And everybody can, kids and adults. Adults will probably like it more than kids. Can all dress up if they want to for the Walking Dead, or they can be just regular people that are being chased by the Walking Dead. You know, and I think we could do that up on the trails and things and have the movie. And I think that would go over really big and could catch on. It's just my thought, and I know other people have had the same thoughts about it and brought it up before too. And every time I brought it up when we're talking about something else, it's never gone anywhere. So, and I don't know how to
we
get it
tried it.
started.
You could play alpha.
I
Which
know,
one's-
right?
oh.
No.
Which one's alpha?
We tried about 3 years
No, I'm not
ago.
shaving my hair. I did everything in the world I could to keep my hair from falling out. I'm not going to shave it.
Four
It's like-
years ago, we started to plan a zombie walk, and it would ultimately end up on the football field at the time. I had a director confirmed who directs zombie movies. He was going to come and do autographs. We were getting a zip line for the kids to ride down, signing a liability release form, and it just didn't happen.
Why?
We had such, again, the negativity overpowered the popularity of The Walking Dead
So
and
did-
the
Just
White
like our
Walkers.
community
So
garden died
Yeah,
because of
and
the
then we
negativity.
were also looking at getting like the big movie screen and showing one of those old zombie movies, you know, to culminate the event at the end.
So what do you mean? It was a community pushback negative? Like, did people
No.
not want it, or
It was not community pushback. I'll talk to you about that later.
okay?
Okay.
But I think it's an excellent idea because we do have a lot of people that are
Let's talk
really
about it
into
No,
that.
I am not throwing anyone under the bus right here on television.
Well, I'm for doing that.
Yeah, no,
kinda.
I'm not doing that, but I'll talk,
I'm-
I can
I'm
tell you
holding my
separately
tongue.
But
what
those
you'd have
are-
to overcome.
But those kind of ideals are
Love the idea.
yeah, those
too.
kind
I
of
think that
ideals are
sounds
really
really fun.
great, but I think that in order for things like that, just like with this powder puff thing I want to do for the seniors, I'm obviously going to have to take the bulls by the horn and do it progressively. If we come up with ideals like this, then I think that us as a board, or at least a couple of us or something, there again, needs to do the same thing, grab the horns, go with it, push it until you hit a wall. Then if it hits a wall, then you let me, Felicia, know, and we'll see if we can squeak it through the cracks, because I think the people at City Hall and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen know that we are wanting to help bring the city together and at least make it fun for a lot of people that's not in this little group over here that I just mentioned. And if they want to stay there, let them stay. If they want to come and have fun. But I think it's going to take more than just sitting up here talking about it. And I am going to start, I won't be able to start tomorrow because I know what I got to do, but Wednesday I think I'll go ahead and try to pursue Evan and Bruce and see if I can get that started. And then, you know,
Well, let me know whatever you
I
need.
mean, look what happened with the yard sale. We are full.
I know. I'm excited
Full.
about that.
Full. Mm-hmm. All spots have been sold.
Overfull.
Everything is ready to go, but it didn't come easy. It took a lot of hard work by all my senior citizens board group. So
Well, Steve, I know Kathy's got some excellent ideas from when she was pushing it before, and I have some ideas. What do we do? I mean, we bring it up, we mention it.
I think that
What do we do to push it? Because
I
we've
think you got to have a.
tried.
I think first of all you got to have a game plan.
We do have a game plan,
Well,
pretty
you
much.
can talk about it, but once that game plan, those ideals are put into paper, and then they become emailed to us, and then insist that the replies are back to all, not just to you. So me and Felicia, or whoever can read them, all of us can read them, and then that way that gives me the opportunity to see who I need to turn to and you know, try to fight for.
I
I'm not
think
saying,
I think one thing you've got going for it this time is you've got a mayor who also enjoys watching The Walking Dead.
oh,
And
Jason would be
I think
the
Jason would be
Oh,
for
yeah.
it. And I think as long as you have a mayor who's very supportive of it, they can get things done.
Not
Don't
just
you
The
think
Walking
all
Dead,
of
but also supportive
We're talking
of,
about the fall, yeah, October.
yeah, not just supportive of The Walking Dead, but supportive of trying to bring, you know, we've got a lot of problems in the city. We've had for a long time. There's a lot of talk. People, you know, there again, like I put on a post on Facebook, you may not like someone that I love, or you may love someone I dislike, but it's got nothing to do with me or you.
Yeah, as long as you're not part of like a hate culture or something.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're part of that.
Oh, it
It's got-
matters to me.
But then you need to, you know, but when, we gotta work through that because there's people that hate someone that I love, but it's got nothing to do with me. But getting back to this Walking Dead thing, our mayor would help us try to bring the city together and, you know, try to make it fun again, as Kathy and I so eloquently talked about back during the election with Deborah. So, but there again, I think it's going to take a couple of you to start communicating by email particularly so you can keep up with what's being talked about. Not that you're trying to hide anything. I don't mean that.
You're talking about just keeping everyone in the loop.
Keeping everybody in the loop, and that way if we hit a snag, then Felicia will start with trying to help it, and if she can't get nowhere, then she can turn it to me, and then I'll take it to the powers that be. But I'm gonna start on my powder puff football thing Wednesday. You're gonna be reading about it on Facebook, you're gonna be hearing about it, and I'm gonna try to make it work, so.
Kathy, I'll send you my email and we can compare our ideas and see what all can be.
Y'all
merged
have each
together.
other's emails.
We do.
Yeah, you got each other's emails.
Oh, yeah, on the,
We'll just include everyone,
Yeah.
like Steve
Yeah.
says.
Make sure you do include, you know,
Yeah.
that way everybody knows what's in the loop, and who knows? One of these folks may have an idea.
Mary Jane, I bet she's got some good ideas.
Yeah.
Sitting here thinking,
I know.
you watching me, aren't you?
She can't even take care of the cranberry sauce.
Why?
So anyway, senior center yard sales, April 27th.
We did put that in there just because, of course, Parks and Rec have a huge hand in any event that go on in the city, whether it not from a planning aspect, but just from a manpower side,
But-
any event that happens. So
Well, I've got my flyer in the back, you see in the back window of my car.
Yes.
is that where you put yours? That is awesome.
People are looking.
But the reason that I kind of wanted it on there is because I personally wanted to ask our Park and Rec board members, just like I would ask our senior citizen board members, that morning, April 27th, we're going to start at 8 a.m. I will not be mad, upset. I will give you hot coffee and donuts if anybody wants to show up at 7 and start helping us set up.
I will be there.
I'd like to see the Park and Rec board helping the senior board and the senior board helping the Park and Rec board. And there again, there's gonna be a lot of people there. And there's gonna be a lot of early shows. We're going, if nothing else, we need some people to say, hey, we're not ready. We have got so much stuff to set up for a silent auction. You all can't even believe what I've got. I mean, I'm going to pick a pickup load tonight. I got a camping set that's just, you know, but anyway, that's on the senior citizen thing, but anybody that wants to.
About on the senior sale, on the auction part, have you thought about making a special Facebook page that has the pictures?
We
and
did.
starting bids?
We
You've
went,
got a
yeah,
special-
Yeah,
we've
we
already
did.
gone
There's
through
a
all that.
special auction page?
We're not doing an auction page online. Our goal is to bring the people to the yard sale.
Yeah.
That's why we don't want to allow them to do online auctions. We put the pictures online to show them what we're going to have, but they have to be there to bid.
Well,
Is
they
it on-
call it,
What's the page name that the pictures are on?
We'll send you the link. It comes onto the Laverne Senior Center Facebook page. You'll be able to see all of them, and it's under the auction album.
what do they call that in the stores when you go in, they got all that candy sitting around there,
Impulse buys.
the power of suggestive selling. Mm-hmm. If we can get you to come out and bid on this stuff, you'll probably go over there somewhere and buy a trinket. You know, so.
Steve, can I ask you a question? You're doing the fundraising for the senior center. Do you have does the senior center have a special account set up just for the senior center, or does it fall into the general fund?
I'll let Felicia answer that now.
Yes, we were able to secure a separate fundraising account 122. I'll tell you right now which one it is.
That is wonderful.
For the senior center. So that is anything that is strictly fundraiser money. So if it didn't cost the seniors anything to purchase the craft to sell, it can go into the senior center. It can go into the fundraising account.
Is it a separate account though,
Yes,
or
it
is
is.
it a separate account code?
It is completely coded differently.
Not a code, I'm talking about a special.
Yes.
Where you get your own bank reconciliation statement just on that account?
No.
Or does
It is,
come-
no, it's coded separately.
It's co-
It's
it's a-
complete lined item different.
It's an item line by itself. Everything is kept up. We got 3 people. We got senior citizens, first of all, with the receipts.
Okay,
Then we got Park and Recs with the receipts. And then we got finance with the receipts. And all 3 of those have to match this one to make sure that everything that's in there, there's
will that
nothing.
amount then carry over in the next fiscal year and stay on that
Absolutely.
line item?
Absolutely.
That's my question. Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
And since you brought that up, Kathy, I also want to ask, that's an important factor also. I'm on the pageant committee, that we have, we go out, we fundraise, and we're trying to work on this turning into a scholarship pageant, and that is a big issue. We don't have those funds carry over. Is that something that we can get working on also for a separate account for that scholarship portion that we want to turn that pageant into?
Well, the scholarship comes from outside source. We don't provide the scholarship.
No,
So
but
if
we
it
have-
was to,
I'm sorry, we have had excess monies, but it goes back into the general fund is what I'm saying.
we don't have access money for the pageant.
We
It's
have.
been over budget.
No, we have in the past,
We've
because I've
had
been on the
thousands of
pageant.
dollars
Yes.
that we
Okay.
made in profit.
Prior to you, prior to you taking over, we have, and that's what I'm saying, I've been part of that fundraising, and it's
Revenue
frustrating
over
when you,
expenditure,
or
yeah.
when you go out and you try to assist, and then you see that money
It goes.
not go back into that fund.
I
So
didn't know
it's not
any-
you, it's not you, and I'm not saying you, but I've been on that committee and helped for a while, and that's a concern that we have, for the future if we're going to, because that sponsorship money can roll over, because I don't think it's reasonable to rely on one source, and I know what's being worked on this year, that you can't rely on one source to fund a scholarship. You've got to be thinking for the future. So, and that's my concern with that. Is that something that you
So
can?
you want City of Laverne to provide excess money to fund a scholarship?
No.
No, the excess money, we have in the past have raised excess funds, or within the budget, we've stayed below the budget. We've had thousands of dollars go back into the general fund instead of rolling back into that pageant.
So you
So
couldn't
you would
set
have
up
to start the
scholarships
conversation
years
with,
ago.
with finance.
Yeah.
That's where you need to start the conversation at.
I
So
think
that money, just so I'm clear, this sounds like something maybe I need to get involved in? through-
I
because
mean,
the
you could
pageants
if that's
through-
what she's wanting to, but we don't have a separate line item for, well, yes, we do have a separate line item for the pageant, and it is currently under public relations. So you'd need to get it moved over to Parks and Rec, and then we would have to get some type of
Okay,
special
so it's
line
not
item
under
for it.
Park and Rec.
No,
Yeah,
What's it under?
Public relations.
TR.
yeah, I don't know nothing about
But,
that.
yeah, and I think what Deborah's trying to say is, in the past, we have made thousands in revenue over expenditures.
Correct.
And we would have liked to have applied it then.
Right.
To future scholarships. We could have had scholarships years
Already.
ago, except it just got reabsorbed into the general fund.
So all the extras just went back into
Goes away.
110 and
Away,
didn't,
And you reset your budget each
Right.
and we never seen it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And that's like.
Yeah, that would not be a question for me.
And that's what we're saying. That's
Yeah.
why
So
I'm
that
asking
would be
about
nice.
special accounts. Yeah, I don't know how many thousands
Why
have been
don't
lost.
you, why don't you email me,
Okay.
explain that to me, and then let me take it to finance and see, and if nothing else, at least try and get you a solid answer.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that I can do anything, but maybe, sometimes it's kind of like closure, you can get the, so,
Okay, that would be nice.
Having a carryover amount each year would be good.
okay.
Right. So we're not over budget and the different things like that. It would be a lot easier, I think, for the director of the pageant and know that we have that carryover.
And that's
amount,
money
things like
that's
that.
money that's been donated, that's not coming from the city. So that is donated
That's
money.
entry fees, that's picture sales, that's sponsorships, that's,
Admission, door
Does the
admission,
does
things
the
like
city give you X amount of dollars for that?
Yes.
Do they take their money back after it's all over?
Is there any way to track how much excess money was raised that didn't get rolled over?
I used to put budgets together. I don't know what happened to them.
I don't know, I mean,
I had budgets.
excess money is in money from the, say we brought in sponsorship money, and then, is that the money you're talking about?
All funds. So you're going to have your budget, what's the cost to do the pageant, and then the excess funds roll back into the next year's funding, and then you continue to get what you get, and that money you can use the excess for, say you need to update something or another, or working towards that goal of
Right, no,
the scholarship.
Miss Debbie asked about, you said the extra money from scholarship, or from the
No.
sponsorships, or from the city?
The extra money that wasn't from the city that was raised in
Uh-huh, so the-
fundraisers for the scholarships, that she said there was excess just about every year.
So you were just curious.
Is
as
there
to
a
what it
way
was.
to trace that amount
We
that it
have-
was back when she had the budgets and
I mean,
It
recoup
definitely
that-
sounds like it
recoup
won't
that
get
money?
addressed in this meeting, but maybe an exploratory committee and like doing an audit just to kind of get that information together might be part of that request to be taken away to address that at a later
I don't know
time.
if that's something that, you
Get it
can go
back.
backwards on.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it can be addressed.
But so we'll address it going forward and see if we can, that's kind of what we did with the senior center. We didn't worry about the past was the past, and we're not gonna worry about it. Let's try to be positive and move
Yeah, and
forward.
that's all I want to do is interested in building the future.
Okay,
Is it
well, send me an email and let me go to the powers that be and at least talk about it, and maybe I can get you a definitive answer.
That would be great.
Okay, again, the senior prom, it's gonna be big time, and again, I'm not gonna be mad or upset if any of these board members show up to help. Now, this year's event is going to be the 70s.
yes.
So you need your stacks and bell bottoms and,
Mary Jane's and all.
We
yeah.
have a lot of good things planned for senior prom. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You gotta be able to do the bump and the, what else was, man, I can't even remember how long it's been so long. What kind of dances?
One thing that I wanted to add past that, that wasn't on the agenda, and I apologize, is May 14th is going to be a beautification project for the farmers market at the senior center. That is where we're holding farmers market, of course. So May 14th from 1 to 3, we're going to paint the concrete pillars there and things like that, and just kind of spruce the place up a little bit. We do have a rain day scheduled for that, just in case, for May 28th between 1 to 3. So I wanted to add that in and make sure everyone knew. If you can be there, that would be wonderful to assist the seniors in making our lot nice and pretty.
When is the Hurricane Creek pickup?
May,
13th, isn't it?
what was it, 4th?
I can't remember. You got it
I
right?
want to say it's May 4th.
I
Yes.
believe it, okay.
Perfect. Okay, May 4th.
So again, if any board members want to come out and help pick up trash, I will not be upset. God knows I need the exercise, so.
But that is all we have.
What
All
are the
right.
hours on the 14th?
14th is 1 to 3.
All right, we're getting close to time to go here so they can have their Greenway committee. We'll go to comments. Mr. Eric?
Two things real quick. Just revisiting Multicultural Festival. There's elementary schools that I was in contact with that have a YMCA fund company that just recently did a cultural showcase. If we had some letter or some type of way of just soliciting, like, hey, we would like some interested groups, we could get that to the directors of the fund company that could get it out to the parents.
Great idea.
That could also get some participation.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Could you send me that information?
I definitely can.
Thank you, Eric.
And then next, just wanted to plant a seed as far as like maybe an upcoming agenda item to discuss. But I've heard feedback and conversation around a desire to have a community center. And I'll leave it like that. That's all my comments.
Yeah.
15 years trying.
Yeah,
Ms. Skinner?
I really don't have any comments this time.
Wow. Ms. Deborah?
Let me see.
Yeah, we tried and tried.
I think I've asked most of them throughout. Oh, I did have a question about the ball league. And I know that you had mentioned this the last time. If there was someone that still wanted to join the ball league, would they still
Yes,
accept?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yep, they are going to accept them. It does, one game left, and it'll still take them.
I
will
got
take
2
it.
today.
Very nice.
Okay. All right, and that's it.
Is
Thank
that
you.
it? Ms. Debbie?
Yes, I had brought this up before a while back. We have a beautiful Veterans Memorial Wall now, and we also have a memory bench and plaque for Captain Coos from the Blue Angels. And I was thinking, I don't know if we could do it this year if we have time. It would be so nice just to have a very small little flower garden, maybe with a little ornamental tree over to the side of where the memorial wall and Captain Coos bench is. Is there any way that could get done if we could find volunteers that would donate the material?
We've talked about giving that area an updated look with flowers and plants and things like that. Are you talking about a specific, you just want flowers there or something additional?
Well, maybe something that's pretty much maintenance-free, maybe some perennials that will just low maintenance that come back
Oh,
every
yes,
year.
I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you were
and-
talking about a specific memorial. No, we have
and
actually.
maybe like an ornamental tree, like a little weeping Japanese maple tree, or
We have,
Something
we've
simple
been
to
in
start
discussion
with.
with that for probably 2 months now, about items that can, number one, withstand the wind there. It is an extremely, you have to have a hardy plant, or flower even, to withstand something in that area right there. I mean, we have we have winds right there that rip banners down. So we're attempting to find something that would not necessarily be low maintenance, because we definitely, we want to make it look good. So that's a semi-factor, I guess you would call it. But we have been talking about it. So I'll keep you updated. I'll get some more information on maybe some of the different looks that we're trying to do there, and bring it for you next meeting.
okay, I can send you some plants that are.
I would love that. Yeah, that would be great.
All right, thanks.
All right, Mr. Bob?
Well, you mentioned about a community center. I mean, I've been working on it for the last 15 years since I've been on the
Yeah,
board.
every ball.
And I understand that the seniors want their own building.
Yeah.
And we've had a cost analyst come in and explain everything to us about having 2 different buildings. There'd be an additional cost for the city to maintain and keep up, where my idea of a community center and a senior citizen place all in one would be a swimming pool in the middle, and it would be with a gate between the two.
I can
So
tell
the
you,
seniors would be on one side, and the community center would be on the other side.
I can tell you a little bit about that building, and Vice Mayor Brown can correct me if I'm wrong, but the senior citizens building is a grant. And if we were to start putting a community center name or something, I don't think it would happen. Is that close to what I'm trying to say? So that's the problem with what you're saying. The community center itself, I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the city of Laverne that wouldn't love a big community center. And it's been talked to death, but unfortunately, it takes one thing.
That's money.
And, you know, we keep going one step this way and a half a step that way. But at least it's, you know, my dad always told me, shoot for the stars, you might be able to grasp a cloud, so we'll just keep shooting for it.
But there's other communities have what I'm talking about. When the other administration here 15 years ago, we took a day off and we went to a lot of places in Rutherford County and Canyon County and Woodbury, and they all have community centers and senior citizens all in one place.
I agree.
And they have the swimming pool.
I just think you'd be doing a disservice as a growing community, and that's something that could fall under Parks and Rec, to not talk about as you grow in your business sector and as you grow your schools, that you also need to look at growing and supporting those demographics of the youth, your present, your seasoned members of society in your community. And as of right now, the way I look at it, we don't have that central location as of today. So, like I said, we don't have to belabor this meeting, but I do think we maybe should revisit it to maybe have that better shot at the start.
I can ask some questions about it. I'm not scared to ask questions and report back to you guys. I don't know that. I'm certainly not privy to all the past information, but I think it's a great idea. But I also am realistic, knowing what it takes to get there, to get that.
Has anybody ever gotten some tentative figures on what it would cost to do something like that? Deborah, any grants available?
$5 or $6 million.
Okay, grants available?
Well, let's bring it up at the next meeting, because they've got their meeting here in just a couple of minutes. So let's go to Miss Kathy.
Well, now that y'all have talked it all out and told me I'm out of time, I'm going to take a little bit more time and answer some of your questions. In 2016, the State Local Parks and Recreation Fund gave out $17 million in grants. In 2018, they gave out $15 million in grants. Part of that money, $150,000, I wrote a grant for, and I got it for War Trace to rehabilitate their gymnasium. You have got, right here in front of you, you've got a full-time grant writer, you've got a full-time Parks and Recreation staff. There is no reason whatsoever this city isn't applying for these grants. There's no reason. It's a 50-50 grant. Let me back you up here. That's where we've always gotten pushback from it. Well, we have to come up with 50%. Well, if you're going to be replacing playground surfacing and playground equipment, let the state help pay for that. You know, we have $500,000, East Ridge, which I think is a city in Hamilton County, got $500,000 for playground replacement. They did a splash pad, and they brought it all into ADA compliance. You had in Gallatin, Sumner County, $500,000 to redo the ball field, to include new bleachers, lights, fencing, walkways, dugouts, scoreboard. If you're going to be making these changes anyway and doing these improvements, apply for this grant. It's a hell of a lot of work, and I'm sorry for my strong language. I'm sorry. It's a lot of hard work. You have to show minutes where the Parks and Recreation Committee has talked about it, and you have to have documentation that we've talked about it in minutes. You have to have the Planning Commission buy in. Yes, we're going to approve these changes. That was a new one this year that we had to add. You have to have the Board of Mayor and Aldermen buy into it. You have to have letters from different civic groups within the community saying, yes, this is going to improve our community. We think this is a good idea. Again, you've got a full-time Parks and Recreation staff and dedicated committee members. You've got a full-time grant writer. You've got, I think, a Board of Mayor and Aldermen that's passionate, and I think it's about time that they pay attention to this grant, because right now is when the work starts. Right now. You have to put in a year of work. They're going to award the grants in probably April or May of 2020. You got to be working on it now. And I can help whoever needs to know it. It's 3 pages. I checked every single item off. and it's tough. It's tough.
I wish I knew that much about what you're talking about. Sounds
Well,
great.
we've got somebody. to
I'll
do it.
pass
We have
this
two
on.
And,
people to do it.
yes, I have bring
That's
this up
great.
over and over, and I'm willing to work on this and help with this.
Well, I told you all last month to come to me and we would set up a meeting and go
Let's do it.
meet with our grant writer and maybe, I don't know anything.
Actually, I did go in and talk to her
Did she
last-
know about
last
this
week.
stuff?
What we really need to do is
Ish.
set up a meeting with AC, or just start off, we need to meet with you, and we can further discuss this, like, I know
Okay.
that they have to go on.
She
to
has
this
talked
meeting.
about it every 2 years and has been told, no, they didn't want to do it because it's so much work. Yes, it's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work,
Well,
but it's so
nothing
worth it.
comes easy.
Right.
The only
You,
thing,
Steve.
yeah, that's fine. I love the passion and the the intense and excitement. I love that. That's what we need. Somebody that's not afraid to put it out there. I think we can all learn from it. The only thing I've got to say is I've been sitting here all night with this on my mind. My 7-week-old grandson is in the hospital. So I'd like for y'all to remember him.
Definitely
Say a prayer for him.
prayers. And I'd like to also say my granddaughter will be having surgery tomorrow. You can keep her in her prayers too. I'll keep your grandson in my prayers, and
All right, with all that said, Park and Rec meeting, I call it adjourned.